Pay no attention to the man in the back. Yeah, he's the one that's directing he's the conductor. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Wesley Wednesday. We're so happy that you've joined us today. We're going to wait for just a couple minutes to wait for our online group to join, and we'll get started in just a minute. Online group. Okay. We have about 100 joining us today, so. All right. Well, welcome to Wesley Wednesday. We're so happy that you joined us today. My name is Lisa Osterloh, and I represent the campus here at Wesley at Tehali in Bonnie Lake. Thank you for joining us for today's Teaching Kitchen featuring super greens. Greens may sound unexciting, but you won't think so after the delicious recipes from our executive chef, Devon. For those of you attending online, you will also see the recipes posted in the Zoom chat box as we present that so you can follow along with Chef Devon. We'll email you the recipes and a link to the Zoom recording following the event as well. And for those of you that are attending here in person, we have all the recipes here for you to take home with you when you leave today. Today we have nearly 100 attendees online, and we have many more attending in person. And like I said before, it's so great to see faces again, and we're so glad you're here in person. For those of you that are new to Wesley, let me share a little bit about who we are. Wesley is a not-for-profit retirement community started 77 years ago. We continue to grow in our service with campuses now in Des Moines, Lee Hill in Auburn, Bradley Park in Puyallup, and Tehali in Bonnie Lake. We also continue to be different through community, choice, and continuing care. Our campuses are active and energetic. They are filled with fun, including our award-winning Wesley University extended learning courses. Residents have a voice through our resident councils and become engaged through many of our programs. Regular exercise classes and trail hikes are popular as well. Our campuses offer multiple living options and levels of care. We also offer home care, home health, and hospice services in your own home, whether needed at Wesley campus or in your own home in King and Pierce counties. And I'd like to introduce our campuses and teams. With 19 acres, Wesley, Lee Hill, and Auburn opened in 2007 and is home to over 200 families. You'll have a network of services there, including a 36-bed skilled nursing and rehabilitation center, all with private suites. Contact Maureen for more information about Wesley Lee Hill. I'm joining you today from our beautiful new campus in Bonnie Lake. Wesley at Tehali is our newest Wesley community, and we're situated at the foot of Mount Rainier. Our campus is amazing with lots of walking trails, huge spacious community areas, and parks. The apartments are large with big windows letting the natural light in. You can call me or Emily to learn more about our community here in Bonnie Lake. Wesley Bradley Park is located in the heart of Puyallup near South Hill Mall, shopping, medical care, and Bradley Lake Park. Currently, Wesley Bradley Park has a few rare openings in catered living and memory care. Catered living is our Wesley supported living and offers assistance customized to your needs. Find out more about catered living by calling Joan at our Wesley Bradley Park campus. And our flagship community, Wesley Des Moines, offers independent cottages, brownstones, apartments, assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care. They currently have a few apartments available, so you can give Rob or Elizabeth a call at our Des Moines campus to learn more. And next, I'd like to go and introduce our instructors today. Our Wesley's executive chef, Devon Boisen, has 32 years of global experience in the restaurant industry, from US to Europe and Australia. He created the One Fermented Evening dining series to showcase his award-winning culinary talents. And Shelley Berry, registered dietitian, has a BS in food science and nutrition with a dietetic specialization from Central Washington University. Sheila joined Wesley family in December of 2021, and she really enjoys helping Wesley residents make healthy, tasty food choices. So everyone, please welcome Chef Devon and Sheila. Come on.
I do want to at least introduce one more person here. We have a lovely individual. This would be Chef Prakash Nirula. He's our new executive chef here at the Tahali campus. We're extremely excited. He just started this week. He's got an amazing background. He was born and raised in Nepal. He was trained classically in Nepal. He came over to the United States via Carnival Cruise Line. Worked, I think, 6 years, you said? Yes. 6 years? Sorry, we'll share a mic a little bit. From there, he's worked several different places. He was also part of Compass Group, which is who we deal with as well, at Bon Appetit, which is high-end food contract management. And then recently, the Hilton Hotel. So we're very happy to have him aboard. He's going to help out today too. And let's hopefully we can put on a nice show for you. Okay. So first thing, I mean, I know that nobody's going to have any problems with this, but we're going to start with dessert first. Is that okay? All right. So exactly. Now, unfortunately, we do have today's superfoods. So we're not, I mean, it'll be good, but it's going to be superfood. So in the meantime, too, as we're going through some of this stuff, we're gonna obviously talk with our lovely dietitian here, Sheila. She's going to be able to give us some of the ideas on what we're cooking, why we're using what we're using, what the nutritional value of those things are, and maybe some alternatives too. Because as we use the recipes that you have, or you will have, recipes are just a guideline. Obviously, if you don't like certain things you see in these, don't use them. Use something different, right? So this is just a guideline. We're going to walk you through some of the steps. And then again, she's going to be able to help us out too, give us some really good diet options, things that we can substitute in. Maybe there's some allergy issues that are prevalent through the communities. Maybe there's some diet issues. Obviously, low sodium is something we concentrate on as well. She's going to help kind of get through some of that muddy water with us, okay? All right. So first things first, we're going to do this. So we've got a peach compote with blackberries and a basil syrup, okay? Tasty. No ice cream. But again, this would be one of those things we could add on, okay? So first thing we're going to start with, he's going to light this up. We've got a fancy little burner over here. We're going to saute off our peaches. We've got a little bit of oil. We're going to hit them with a little bit of sugar. We have blackberries, fresh blackberries. Tasty, fresh, Northwest blackberries. We're going to use a little bit of basil for the flavoring, and it'll all come together. We'll let that reduce. While that's reducing, we're going to kind of move on to the next option, okay? So, Prakash, here we go. Sure. Some peaches, and I know this is off camp. Or you're turning? Excellent. All right. So we're going to start with those and the blackberries. Why not? Yeah. Let's just do that. So that's for water then. Okay. Now, we've got our peaches. They got a lot of fluid in them. We've got the blackberries, which don't, but we still need something to add to this. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there and burn, right? So we've got a little bit of white wine. We'll put that in there. Sugar, because, well, I mean, it's dessert.
It makes a syrup.
Exactly. We're going to keep a little bit of the basil. We're going to cook some in, and then we're going to leave a little out. We'll finish it with the fresh basil, because you're going to get two different kind of flavor profiles when you do that. You'll lose a lot of the flavor, the bright flavor when you cook it, but then we'll add that in so it really highlights it towards the end, okay? The other thing about that too, with dried herbs versus fresh herbs, we like to cook with dried. if it's a long cooking process, and then finish with fresh. So again, it gives that a nice vibrant feel at the end, okay? Anybody know what this little thing is? Huh? There you go. So it's a cut glove. So that way, if I slip, yeah. So if you're get one when you're cooking, or yeah, get one. They're not, I mean, they're not the greatest for like refined work, but as far as just hacking away and not losing a finger, it's a beautiful thing, right? I'm also going to add just a touch of lemon juice because we got that sugar in there. So we'll hit it with a little of that acidulation will break up that sweetness. It'll give it a much nicer flavor. The other thing we're going to add in there, because this is always fun, is orange peel. Now, I wanted to go over that a little bit. When I do orange peel, you can do it a couple different ways. I got zesters, which will pull the outside and it just kind of pulls it all off. Or I don't bother with any of that. Just cut down. You don't have to be too careful. But see, we've got this lovely white stuff on the inside. As we probably all know, that's bitter, right? So what I do is I just kind of come back through here, clean it all up, take the white out like that. Now we've got that nice, pretty stuff, okay? From here, depending on here's a beautiful thing. Again, what you want to do. If you don't like eating orange peel, which I would say probably 50% of you don't, right? Leave it in whole. So that way you get the flavor of the orange peel. We can pull that out later. Or for the people like me who are a little like crazy, we'll just go ahead and eat that later, okay? All right, I'm going to leave a little bit of this out. Sheila, would you like to add anything to this? Is this a good dessert? Is this a nutritious dessert?
It is a very nutritious dessert. You've got lots of fruit in there. I will add, if you don't drink or have wine available, grape juice is a good substitute. So you could do a white grape juice. You'll just kind of want to look at the label on it and get one that doesn't have a lot of added sugar. Look for just the straight juice. And so that's a way to substitute for that. Yeah.
Would you be able to use a lemon basil vinegar
Of course,
instead of?
absolutely.
My sister-in-law made some for me, and it's a gift, and I love it because it's got just the basil and the lemon flavor. It's perfectly clear.
And just in case anybody didn't hear her, can we substitute different vinegars? Can we substitute different acids? Absolutely. Do any acid you like. There's lovely things like she's mentioning that's infused.
Yeah.
So lemon and basil, and you could use tarragon. You could use, I mean, there's all these different fun things. You can use different, say, wine vinegars. There's rice wine vinegar. There's sherry vinegar. Sherry vinegar would be really nice. Okay. So yeah, experiment, have some fun. What we're using right now is the lemon juice. Again, we get that nice bright acidity, but you can do whatever you like. If you like that little bit of oaky woodiness, then use a fortified wine vinegar, and it's amazing. Okay. All right, so we're working here. Does anybody get any smell yet? Does this smell good?
I'm smelling here.
Does this you smell delicious, sir. Okay, then like we said earlier, let's go ahead and move on to smoothie. So this is a fun one for me. I've been waiting to put smoothies in place at the bistros. So we have bistros at almost all of our campuses. And there are these great little shops you can stop in, you can get, bistro food. So we have maybe some of those spots are open for breakfast, so we can have coffee and muffins and things like that. There's also obviously lunch options. We have options that we prepare for you right in front of you. We have ready to eat sandwich or ready to make sandwich materials, things like that. And then what I'd love to add is this, because, little smoothie in the morning, get things going. Okay, so who here drinks smoothies? Anybody? Who promised they were going to start doing things like this and didn't do it yet? Right on. All right. Yes, it is a good thing. And
Oh, I moved.
well, hello.
Because you were with the blender over there, I moved over here.
So this is a good one though. On smoothies, you'll find that they have all these on market fun powders and things like that.
Yeah.
So there might be some other options to this too. If you don't like certain things in here, there may be some great powder. Do you know of any of these?
I would actually recommend using real food like a yogurt or almond or soy milk, coconut milk versus a powder to get some protein. Because when you see the recipe, a lot of good fruits and vegetables, not a lot of protein in here. So if you're looking for a snack that's going to hold you over a little longer, or maybe a quick light meal, if you add in yogurt or milk that has some protein in it, that will help you stay full and feel satisfied longer.
So what about the whey protein powders? Is that kind of
You can use it, but
Yeah?
I personally find the powders can leave you with a little chalky texture and taste in them, which is why I recommend yogurt, especially a Greek yogurt is going to add some of that creaminess as opposed to the coconut or almond or soy milk.
Okay. So here we go. We need a bunch of fun stuff that we're going to grind up into a pulp, obviously. We need enough fluid in order to make it work. Otherwise, you're just going to sit there and spin. We need ice because that's what's going to make it nice and cold and tasty. But then another thing that as we're going through the recipe here, and I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but this is going to probably drink a little bitter. Okay. There's a lot of bitter things. Kale. First of all, we're going to start with this green leafy kale, which again, personally, I don't eat this stuff.
Good job.
This is the kale I eat. So there's the difference. You got big green leafy kale, which is awful to chew on. You feel like you're chewing cud like a cow, right? And then you got this stuff. This is the baby stuff. And this stuff is beautiful. The flavor's amazing. It's very light. It's mild. It's got a slight peppery. In fact, it's even got a little saltiness to it. It's really, really beautiful to eat. This, not so much. So we still have to work this stuff in though. I mean, what if it overgrew? We're not going to throw it away. So let's grind it up. Okay. Now I know that there's also some diet issues with things like this as well.
Yes, with your leafy greens, if anybody is taking any medication with as a blood thinner, warfarin or Coumadin, you'll want to make sure and check in with your doctor because the vitamin K in leafy greens is going to counteract with your medication. So it's a word of warning on the leafy greens, even though they are very good for you.
It's going to counteract with what?
Blood thinning medications. Yep, there'll always be that label on your warning. It will talk about, vitamin K and leafy greens.
Obviously, we said this might be a little bitter. Banana, this is a great item because this is going to help the sweetness. I'm going to go ahead and cheat and put a little honey in here too, just because we're going to give everybody a little bit of this to try.
The more ripe your banana, the sweeter it is.
Oh yeah, let's talk about eating bruised bananas, like the brown ones, the ugly ones.
You mean the ones I don't eat?
Oh, wow.
I put them in smoothies because if I'm going to eat a banana, I like it a little more firm, but the more ripe they are, the sweeter they are.
Well, they're tastier.
Yeah.
Okay. They're just ugly.
They are.
Okay.
But they're still super nutritious.
Now, is this something you should avoid? You're not supposed to have comprehensive.
What was the question?
Bananas are one of the better sources of potassium. So if you are watching potassium, I won't say don't eat a banana, but you're not going to eat it as frequently. I would say you could, instead of putting a banana in your smoothie, you could use a berry, a strawberry, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. Those are also really good in smoothies. If you have frozen berries, then you can use those kind of in place of the extra ice.
The other thing here, the recipe calls for a Granny Smith apple, but you could, obviously use a sweeter apple. That would help counteract this, like, a nice Cosmic Crisp. That's the fun new one that I keep singing out. Most of the residents if I run out of Cosmic Crisp, I'm just not going to show up that day.
I did the best apples for eating. I looked up our recommendations. Our Fuji, Gala, and Honey Crisp are some of the sweeter ones, as opposed to Granny Smith is really good for baking because it's a little more tart.
Yeah. Oh.
I use it in my oatmeal.
So let's talk about this. This is parsley, okay? And you'll see it's kind of like, again, more some overgrown kind of stuff. This is great though, because again, you're not going to use this kind of stuff in your regular food. It's going to be too much. But for flavoring, and I know there's a lot of people that probably don't like parsley, but again, very, very good for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you use those big pieces, the parts that say you chopped up the nice floury part, right? And then those stems at the end, don't throw those away. Keep those. Those work just fine in a smoothie, right? Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, spinach. Everyone, we like spinach? Okay. Okay, I'm running out of room here. We might have to get this one going a little bit first. Okay,
Yeah.
a little bit of lemon juice, and then the last little thing. I already cleaned it, sorry. I didn't want to mess with it while I was up here. This is fresh ginger, okay? So a nice little chunk of that. And again, all those things that have those fibers that are tough to, no, actually, no, good call. If it's young ginger, the stuff that's got the very, very fine skin, you don't have to, you can eat that straight. Absolutely. If it's the older, more mature ginger, then absolutely peel it. You don't have to, but still, it just makes it, you don't have to peel a potato. Same kind of situation. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing to go. Do we have water?
Yes.
You're setting this up for failure here. Look at this. This is great. Like I said, as long as there's enough water, we should be, and you can get the thing closed. We're good. Famous last words. Okay. So now that we've kind of got through it. I'm still learning.
None of the spinach is.
So we already knew that this was going to be a little hard on the blender. So I started it first. I'm sorry. I didn't want to blast you guys with the blender. Okay, I think I'm good now. I started it first because we were making a lot of it. So get that going first. Then once that's all handled, now I can add the ice and I can add everything else and it'll still be nice. If I tried to put the ice in there first too, it's just going to blend all down and there'll just be water. So put the ice in towards the end. It just makes for a better smoothie, that's all. And this would be a good time to add, like, and she said that yogurt. If you didn't want to use water, you could use almond milk or any oat milk, any of those other, actually oat milk. There's got to do the plug on oat milk, right?
Coconut milk.
Coconut milk's good too. Oat milk's like, that's the new one. Obviously, everybody's into this. It's creamier. It's very nice. It's got a great texture to it. And it takes almost no water compared to almond. Almond milk takes a ridiculous amount of water from the environment just to make that happen. So very, very cool stuff. But more calories though, right? Quite a bit, like probably twice the amount of calories.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Depends on how much you're putting in.
Okay. Right? I told her I was going to too.
Hey Devon, what's the brand of your blender?
Okay, that is a Hamilton Beach commercial, but you can use anything. Obviously, the commercial ones are going to have a bigger RPM, much more horsepower. They're going to be able to get through that kale. I mean, that's going to be the big problem. If we didn't use kale, you could use a small one. And I'm just joking. The kale isn't that hard to get through.
Well, since you brought kale up again, we do consider it and talk about it as a leafy green, but it is actually a cruciferous vegetable in the cabbage family. So that's a fun fact on kale, and that's why it's tougher.
Fruit instead of ice. This is the time to add it as well.
Absolutely. In fact, the frozen fruits would be kind of a really good, oh, sorry. Yeah, let's talk about it. She asked about frozen fruit. Just so everybody can hear. So you could actually just sub that in for the ice. A lot of those have a lot of water content. You can just go ahead and just use less ice and more frozen fruit. My ice has decided to come together. Was that refreshing?
Yes.
Okay, good. I put off a lot of hot air, they tell me. This should be good. Again, we don't want it to be terribly wet or runny, but we do want it to be cold and have that nice little ice appeal, right? And then once we get finished with this, we're gonna pass it over and then chef's gonna give you little samples, okay? All right, that's it. We have smoothie. It's nice, huh? Here, I'm gonna sample here first just to make sure that you guys. Oh, that's edible. There you go. Okay, it's better than edible. It is, but it's very green. You'll find it's refreshing. It's a good smoothie. It's a good smoothie. Okay, so is there anything else? First of all, let's talk about this real quick, because I don't know, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Superfood. You know, I was going to tell you about this.
Yeah.
What is a superfood?
A superfood is really just any food that is nutrient dense, meaning it has a lot of vitamins and minerals in a serving that has a small amount of calories. The term superfood is from a marketing department. And like anything, almost any fruits or vegetables can be a superfood. It just is something that has a lot of nutrition with a small number of calories. So even though, you know, apples aren't talked about as a superfood, it kind of is, because there's good nutrition in a lower calorie food. So any brightly colored fruits and vegetables will qualify.
We have a question for Devon. What did you put on top of the bananas?
What did I put on top of the bananas? Oh, honey. Parsley, honey?
Parsley?
Okay, so I'll recap all the things that went into it real quick. How about that? So we put the kale in. We added the parsley, we added banana, we added green Granny Smith apple, ginger, spinach, lemon juice. That was in the little cup. Maybe that's what they're talking about. And then honey, and then the ice on top. That was it. Okay, the first first people trying it. Is it good? Okay, it's a smoothie. It's a smoothie. There you have it. Okay, so what this is beautiful here, and I'll kind of just show this to the camera, but we're getting there. I don't know if everybody can kind of see that. Okay, so all those blackberries have leached in. We've got this beautiful fruit going on. When this gets a little bit lower, because it's still a little wet, a little jiggly, we're going to go ahead and add that basil at the end. Okay.
Smoothie tastes kind of grassy.
It is kind of like eating grass, a little bit. It is. It's a little grassy. But again, the whole idea of the one that we put together for you, this is super high nutrition. We want to go after the superfood green leafies. We've got the spinach, we've got the kale, we got the parsley. So this is a big green smoothie. Do you have to have a big green smoothie? No. This is going to be on the healthier side of things. And then as you get into more of the fruits and things like that, the calorie content will go up, the sugar content will go up, and so on and so on. So you can have an absolutely insanely delicious smoothie, but it's probably not that good for you. So
You can have an insanely delicious smoothie that is good for you.
did you try this, by the way? You should try it.
I will try it.
Question? Okay, so the question is about peaches. Can we use canned peaches instead? You absolutely can. The thing about canned peaches, though, a lot of the canned peaches come in and they've sugared them. So you're better off in this situation to use a frozen peach than a canned peach. And frozen peaches are a lot more readily available year-round as well. Okay, so we're just getting a little bit of this basil. I think we're pretty close on this, and then we'll move on to the next one.
And I'll just throw in that frozen fruits and vegetables are equally nutritious, and in some cases, a little bit more nutritious than fresh, depending on how far fresh produce has had to travel. Because when they freeze it, they they harvest it and it almost immediately gets flash frozen to lock in those nutrients. So it's a good option. And it's economical. You can get a big bag of frozen fruit or vegetables, keep it in the freezer, and it will last a long time.
Okay. Oh, and we were going to talk about that too. You should always try to eat locally too. Try to eat local foods, seasonal foods. Hit up the farmers markets. Go after those kinds of things because, again, it's first of all, it supports local produce or a local economy, which is huge. But also, you know where it came from. You know how it was, processed. You know if there were any pesticides. All those other fun things. You can talk to the farmer. It's a great way to eat. So whenever possible, eat within that kind of 100-mile concentric circle. Like you start in and just work your way out. Like dairy within here, produce within here, meats within here. And as long as you stay within those, you're supporting your local economy, but you're also you're probably eating better as well. Okay, next we have this lovely salad. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just going to clear a little room here. Try not to tumble everything down in the process. Yes, sir. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so once this cools down now, we're going to let it sit down. I'm going to go ahead and throw a few things at you that are a little gluttonous. Just a little. Obviously, this would be awesome over ice cream.
I don't disagree.
Ice cream's great, but if you're just going to eat it, like maybe you had some pound cake and you just kind of wanted to put it over the pound cake, but you still just didn't feel like you were doing enough disservice to yourself. When it's nice right here at this spot where it's kind of still warm, but not overly hot, take a really nice butter, like Kerrygold makes a really nice Irish butter, or there's Lurpak, which is a Danish butter. You got really, really nice butters, right? Take that cold butter, cut it into cubes, put some of that in there and stir it. It'll emulsify right into it. Oh my gosh. I mean, I got to tell you the bad stuff too, right?
It would also go nice over like a vanilla Greek yogurt. The Greek yogurt being a little bit thicker and creamier than your standard yogurt.
Touche. All right. Let's talk fun salads here. Okay, so we've got this set up all nice and pretty for everybody to see. This is a very simple salad. Again, it's totally up to you. If you're like, I hate blueberries, don't use blueberries. Use a different kind of berry. Strawberries would be lovely in this. In fact, we're going to use a balsamic vinaigrette. Strawberries and balsamic are out of this world tasty together. So experiment a little, have some fun with it. But again, these are more of these things. The cantaloupes are getting ready to come back into season. We're a little off, but they're coming back. Blueberries are in season. Again, we have nice fresh basil, that green leafy business, baby spinach, again, green leafy business. If you don't like spinach because you don't like the texture on your teeth, we talked about the baby kale would be another lovely one, or arugula is another great baby, but get the baby ones because they tend to be a little less bitter. And a lot of the grocery stores sell them these days too. So, all right, standard salad. So very simple. And everybody, we'll worry about giving everybody treats. Okay, so our baby spinach, or this isn't actually baby spinach. This is regular stemless small spinach. Baby spinach is actually even tinier, much more delicate. That one also a great alternative if you don't like the heavier texture from the bigger leaves. The bigger leaves of the Bloomsdale, things like that, we want to use those more for braising and sauteing and things like that. Generally wouldn't make a salad with it unless you really like to chew a lot, but there you go. Okay, so the way I like to make a salad, I'd like to say just throw everything in there and stir it up, but obviously dressing, you want to dress it lightly. The other thing you want to do on top of it is seasoning, because just because you have this is, by the way, we're talking about balsamic vinaigrette. Anyone will do. A standard balsamic dressing, just in case if you wanted to try one on your own. Maybe shallots, put that in a blender. So shallots, a little Dijon mustard, a little nice Italian, obviously Modena balsamic. Don't use the 100-year for this. I think that might be a little excessive. So you've got your acid component then, and then a nice, really nice extra virgin olive oil. Depending on how much you like olive oil too, split that up. Use 50% regular and then maybe a lighter, a little more neutral oil. I tend to not try to tell people to use canola because of obviously the processing and everything goes into it, but there are some great ones. Sunflower oil is a good one. And you can go 50-50 on it so you don't get that big kind of acidic flavor. Plus olive oil is really cool stuff. Not all olive oils created the same, first of all, but depending on where it comes from, the varietal, just like anything else, like a wine, they all have different flavors. There are some that are really, really fruity, that are very vibrant and almost sweet. There's some that are a bit more acrid. There's some that are downright spicy, like a chili pepper, like a Frantoio olive is super spicy. When you eat it, it's like, well, am I eating it? Did somebody like put jalapeno? What happened to this? It's absolutely insane. So really kind of play with that. And there's a lot of great options these days too. You can get into local olive oils or find a local distributor and they'll have all kinds of fun stuff for you to try. Go check it out. I know it's a little weird to just sit there and drink olive oil. Do it at least once in your life. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, so we've got our Dijon mustard, which we would add to it because the Dijon is high in lecithin. Lecithin actually helps hold that emulsion. So when you add your acid and then you add your oil, so you'll have all this in your blender going. Then you've got your oil. Drizzle that down the center of the centrifuge, and then it'll all come together for you. There you can season it with salt, with pepper, with any other fresh herb that you want. But that's balsamic vinaigrette in a nutshell. Okay. There you go. So we'll start with a little bit. We don't want to stir crazy. We don't want to grind it. Obviously, keep it nice and soft. Fluff it a little bit. So that way, again, you're not bruising the greens. And then really what we're looking for at this point is we want to see how much dressing we just put in there. Some people like it a little heavier dressed. Some people like it a little less dressed. But now's the time to tell, not later after you got everything else in there. And I think we're looking absolutely perfect. And then here's what I like to do. Put a little bit of everything in the salad and then put a little bit of that same stuff on top, okay? So we'll add a little bit of our blueberry.
What is that?
These are just blueberries. And then your cantaloupe and the one that got away. Put a little bit of, because we got the sweet cantaloupe, we got the sweet berries. Now we got feta cheese. Feta cheese, obviously a little saltier. So, which is great stuff because now you're gonna use the ingredients to actually season it as opposed to adding a bunch of salt and so on to it. Okay. And then basil. Oh, we love basil. We like feta cheese. Everybody like feta cheese? Yeah. Is there anybody know anything fun about feta cheese? Are there different feta cheeses or is it all just the same? Quite a bit of difference, right? You got some that are sheep's milk. They can be made with sheep, with I've even seen ones made with goat, not many with the goat, mostly sheep. They'll do some with cow's milk, some with a blend between the two. So find one you like because your regular Grecian one that you get the Athanos or whatever it is that you'll find, that's all cow's milk. So there's not much flavor. If you get a nice sheep, like a Bulgarian one, it's going to have a nice amount of that sheep in there. Oh, that's good. And then we're just going to do a quick pass on this. We want to leave these leaves nice and big for a salad. We like nice big leaves.
So chef, on the basil, if I'm at the grocery store and they don't have the regular sweet basil, they only have Thai basil. How's that's going to change?
That's a great question. Well, and there's a couple things too. Let's talk about that. So there are many different kinds of basil. This guy here with that tip on it is not sweet basil. Okay, the one that's more rounded is the sweet Italian basil. So this one's kind of medium in between. The one she talked about, we actually have some here. Here's Thai basil. So Thai basil, it's kind of got the purple ends to it. And again, long, skinny leaves with pointy tips. The pointier tip, usually the stronger the basil, usually. There's probably 2 or 3 other kinds of commercially available basils, but This one's going to be much peppery, much more strong. Could it still work? Absolutely. This is going to actually have a little more of like a licorice flavor to it than the other one. So if you like licorice, that licorice with this and this should be absolutely lovely, right? But I'm glad you brought that up because there's so many cool things out there. So don't be afraid if you see something that doesn't quite look like it's supposed to. Go ahead, experiment, grab it, check it out, eat it. And if nobody sees you, eat it in the store.
The eye in the
Might as well
sky.
leave it there if you don't like it, right? I didn't say that. Not with COVID time, right? That'd be bad. Chef said, go sample at the grocery store. Okay, so when we plate this now, we'll kind of put our green leaves on the bottom. Then we'll reach down to the bottom and get all that other fun stuff. Our blueberries, our cheese. I know this one's just gotten out of control. It's out of control. So now, like I said, if you put a little bit inside of it, now when you're eating it, you're going to get little bits as you're eating it. And then you put some more on top for that garnish because we eat with our eyes. So that nice fresh white cheese on the top is going to kind of pop a little bit, right? A few blueberries on there. And a little bigger plate would have been nice, but whatever. All right, so we'll turn it around here. And then the other thing we were going to add to this too, and I'm going to use this just as garnish. I didn't want to add it in because you're going to lose the kick from it. We have pumpkin seeds or pepitas, okay? So what we did here is you can buy these now. There's all like the bulk sections. I think Kind is one of the brands that you can get. They're great. Talk to me about pumpkin seeds. These things are good for you, right?
Seeds are great sources of vitamins and minerals. Great to add onto salads.
Protein?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yep.
Okay. Could I add this to my smoothie?
You could add it to your smoothie. Could add it to your oatmeal.
Oh, perfect. Seeds are actually, nuts and seeds are great too in a lot of cooking processes, especially in different parts of the world. They use them for thickeners. So like moles and things like that, they're actually used pepitas. So they'll grind that in and they'll get some of the thickness in the sauce just by using the nuts. Okay. These guys though, and again, we'll talk about what this tastes like later. We'll make something happen. But I've taken a little bit of oil, a little salt, roasted them with a little Cajun spice. Okay. So it's going to have that little bit of a kick of a little bit of cayenne, paprika, some of the earthiness from some thyme, garlic and onion, all that other fun flavor. So now, again, I didn't want to mix this in because if you mix it in, now it's like, yeah, it got lost. Now we put them on top. Now it's present and you'll get the kick that you're looking for. So go ahead and be generous with these guys. These are just fun. And roast them up, I think about 8 to 10 minutes, depending. Roast them until they're nice and golden brown. Obviously don't taste it right out of the oven. You'll burn your tongue, but you want this to be crispy. Like the oil should kind of seep in and it should get nice and crispy and tasty. If you haven't cooked them long enough, they're going to be chewy. So about at least 8 to 10 minutes, maybe even a little longer, depending on how wet the seed is. Okay.
And you can roast them up without the spices if you're not a fan of
Correct.
the spicy.
The nice thing here is we're trying to balance flavor profile when we put things together. We've got our salt component, which comes from the cheese. We've got the nice sweet from the fruits. We've got obviously the base from all the lovely greens we have in here. We have the basil, which kind of helps bring everything out. So all these fun flavor profiles. The only thing that's kind of missing there is the fun, the zip. So we've got the little bit of Cajun in there, just a little bit, and then that kind of mixes all together. So the idea is, even if you don't, like you say, I hate Cajun, I can't. If you have a little tiny bit that's mixed in with all these things, your tongue's not even going to be able to tell because of all the sweet that's coming off of the cantaloupe and everything else. So the idea is to eat that balance. Okay. Does it look good? Yeah. I hope it tastes good. We'll talk about that later. He's gonna make some things happen for you. Okay. What did we miss on that? Do we want to talk about anything else with that one? That was a good dish, right?
That was, yeah, because we already talked about the greens, talked about berries. The berries. If you joined the Zoom in, what was that, the end of January, when we talked about the mind diet, you'll remember that berries is one of the fruits that is highly recommended because of it's got a lot of antioxidants, so it's very protective of your health.
All right. The Caesar you've never had. Okay, so really, we're just kind of doing a little play off of a standard Caesar salad. We talked about that lovely baby kale. Okay, so instead of the romaine, which don't get me wrong, romaine's a great lettuce. The baby kale though is going to have quite a bit bigger impact, nutritionally speaking, than romaine. Correct?
Yep.
And then versus iceberg, which is like the American cheese of lettuce, right?
My husband calls it filler.
It's filler.
Got a good water content.
Chicken.
Yep.
Chicken. Okay, so one of the things I also wanted to go over here, we have some chicken we cooked off, and it's pretty. Look at that. It's pretty chicken. Chicken breast, which I know can get a little dry, as long as we don't overcook it. But look at that. Isn't that an amazing looking piece of chicken? That's fantastic. The reason why I want to address this is because this is some of those things that we try to do in-house to make food interesting. You can take a piece of chicken and grill it off with just a little bit of oil and salt and pepper, and it's probably pretty good. But the cool thing is if you're eating like this, you've got a lot of these ends just kind of laying around, right? I got that little bit of basil that I didn't use. I got that little bit of rosemary that's probably hanging out. Or I have an herb garden and I don't know what to do with all of it, right? Those little bits and pieces like this, save them, put them with the parsley, whatever. Again, blender's a beautiful thing. Grind it all up and make chicken smoothie. Wait, no, that's not right. Basically, you'll make it kind of a smoothie for your chicken to marinate it in. Okay, so you'll take all these lovely little greens and some salt, some pepper, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, some a little bit of acid. So I think in this one, I think we used a little lemon juice earlier, and then grind all that. Oh, garlic! Don't forget the garlic. Grind all that up. Let that sit on that chicken, and then when you grill it, you get all that lovely caramelization that happens, and then the green bits look really nice too. So you get pretty chicken, and guess what? It tastes a million times better too. So save your bits and use them for things like this. Okay, so like I said, the Caesar you've never seen before. First, we'll start with the baby kale, which we talked about. It's just for diet reasons. If you're like, I can't stand this stuff, I can't eat this, go ahead and substitute in the romaine. That's fine. Also, before anybody says it, I know tomatoes don't belong in a Caesar, and obviously cauliflower doesn't belong in a Caesar. None of these things actually belong in a Caesar until we get to the bad stuff. Just bear with me. We're making a superfood Caesar. Okay, so we got our greens. We're gonna add a little bit of that tomato. I just halved grape tomatoes. They're a little bit nicer in season right now than the cherries are. When you get into full heirlooms that start rocking here late spring, early summer, like a Black Prince tomato would be outstanding in this. So have some fun with it. If you haven't checked out the fun heirloom tomatoes, go to a fun market. There's a local one here in Bonnie Lake. I think I forget the name of it. It was like Joe's, or it's got a real funny like simple name, but he deals only in stuff that's local, and he's got like local pastas, local things like that. So find the fun stuff. If you've never eaten it, grab it, try it, do it in the store. No. Which one?
Poor Dave's.
Poor Dave's. That's right. Poor Dave's. Yeah. Hey, it's local. It's local. This cauliflower, well, all I did was I shaved it, so it's in nice little shavings.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Shaved cauliflower.
Oh, cauliflower.
So instead of eating that big piece of cauliflower, it's kind of tough to chew. Shave it down. Now it's more like a crouton. Speaking of croutons, let's throw some of those in there. Obviously, there's another one. Gluten. Gluten is a big deal right now. And it kind of is. It should be, right?
For some people, yes.
Okay.
For anybody with celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, the croutons look lovely, but I couldn't eat them. As I'm sure other people can't eat them.
I'm not supposed to.
And so, but for those who do not have celiac or a sensitivity, there is no reason whatsoever to avoid.
Okay.
There is no health benefit to avoiding it if you do not have a sensitivity or celiac disease.
You seem pretty firm on this.
I am very firm on this.
Okay.
There's no evidence whatsoever. It was a big fad for a while. And really anybody who eats gluten-free knows that a lot of those gluten-free products are less healthy than the items they're replacing, because the gluten is a protein and it makes things fluffy and it gives it texture. And what they have to add to gluten-free products to try to get close to that is a lot of salt and a lot of sugar.
Indeed.
So
We wanted to bring this up too, because we see this a lot. And really, obviously, go to your doctor, go to a dietitian if you have issues with things like this. Don't let a friend diagnose something like this for you. Just talk to somebody that actually knows what's going on about it, because I swear I get it. We have conversations with people, not necessarily residents, but just through the years in the culinary field, and it's amazing the misinformation that's out and about certain things like gluten. Me personally, I have gluten sensitivity. I still eat it though, because I can't get over bread, man. Bread's just too good.
and me personally, I have it and it's just not worth physical symptoms.
There you go. Obviously, we might get there someday. Okay, and then last thing I just put on top of that was just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So shredded Parmesan. You can use any cheese you like though. Obviously for a traditional Caesar, it's Parmesan. But there's obviously different levels of Parmesan. You go from like real simple Romano kind of Parmesan up to like Reggiano Grana, and then up into like Reggiano, and so blah, 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 blah. And a lot of that has to do with the aging process. The longer it's aged, the more flavor, the more expensive it is. It's like Scotch. Sorry, personal thing. So beautiful cheeses, you can put whatever you want. Now, we talked about this a little bit with the finishing on the fresh herbs and so on. So you could start in here with like a simple cheese that's not terribly expensive, that's a nice Parmesan, and you could have that little chunk of like Reggiano that's been hanging out and just kind of microplane or shred a little that over the top of it. And again, that last little bit on there for finishing, it's going to convince your mouth that the whole thing, and your nose, your olfactory, that the whole thing was expensive cheese, right? Okay. We're going to put you on top. You're too pretty to stir in. Okay. And then Caesar dressing. Let's talk about Caesar dressing. How do we make Caesar dressing? A lot of Caesar dressings you buy these days don't actually have the original ingredients of what a Caesar dressing is supposed to have. A traditional Caesar salad is very simple. It's egg. It's obviously olive oil. It's Dijon. It's anchovies. And then you can put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce if you want. But other than that, that's all. And again, the Dijon, that's what holds the emulsion. You've got the egg, which is the protein. You've got the olive oil, which is obviously lemon juice. I think I didn't say lemon juice. Lemon juice. Those things. Garlic. I didn't say garlic either. I'm just going to keep adding that list. Okay, garlic. Lots of garlic. Most important. The more repugnant you can make it, the better. More garlic, more lemon, more anchovy. Those are the three that if it doesn't have those, forget about it. It's not worth eating. So most of the Caesar dressings that you can buy or the things that we consider Caesars, they're nowhere near what the original is supposed to be. They're just not. So have fun with that. Try one of those out. Make it yourself. And a lot of them, you just do it on table side with a big wooden bowl, and you just kind of stir it all in, mash that anchovy in there. And oh, that's delicious. So anyway, this is a mild one. There's some crazy amount of anchovy involved, but don't be scared of the little fishy. That's your salt. Okay. Yes.
Usually it's a raw egg, so what
Correct.
do you do instead of, because I think some people don't like to do raw eggs very often. Yeah?
That is a great question. Yeah, actually, a lot of the stores right now, you can actually buy yolk in a little container, and it's already pasteurized. So that way you don't have to worry about any kind of like weirdness. A lot of them, they don't really sell pasteurized eggs at the stores. We actually use pasteurized eggs for shell eggs. They're a little weird because they're a little cloudy when you open them up because they've been pasteurized. But we actually use pasteurized eggs for all the stuff we have, so that way we don't have to worry about any of the health implications that go by. Now, yes.
Is there a reason to avoid at this day and age to avoid?
What was the question?
Is there a reason to avoid raw fresh eggs? There could be. A lot of it has to do with how it's handled, though. Just like anything in a lot of these industries, what was used to be safe is no longer safe because of the way we handle stuff. For instance, in Japan, you can eat chicken sashimi. I wouldn't, but you can. And it's because, again, they're not mass producing it. They're not, the way that they handle the animal, the way that they process it, it's not this crazy, like the way we handle things here, it's mass production. There is no thought, no care involved, just push it through. So for something like eggs, if you wanted to stay with something that's a little more on the racy side and try your luck, I'm not saying do that. But if you wanted to do something like that, or you already currently do, I would suggest using something like a fresh farm egg. I would suggest using something that's like one of the more higher end ones, or like, okay, let's talk about the whole organic thing versus organic eggs and free range eggs. It's like, okay, I'm free range. No,
Yeah.
but the more expensive the egg, obviously the more cost in actually growing that chicken. So the more expensive the egg, the better the egg, usually in that situation. Or again, go to that farmer's market, find that local egg man or egg maker, and talk to them about it. Hey, talk to me about your birdies. Where do they come from? Did you name them? Do they have their families? Can I see pictures? Those kinds of things, because the more information they're going to have, the better that egg's going to be. Okay. In Australia, when I was living there, we didn't have a lot of the same issues that we have here with a lot of the foods. And we would go down to that local market, which was more like that old school or European market. And you could talk to the guy, and the eggs were out of this world. The first time I was in Australia, I had hollandaise, and I looked at the guy like he was crazy. And I'm like, what, did you feed this bird plutonium? No. He was confused. He's like, why, what's wrong? And I'm like, this is just not a color that I've seen. Because they don't mess with them. They let them run around out, eat bugs, do the things that chickens do. And when they have that high protein diet of eating bugs and things like that, the yolk is much brighter, much more fragrant, much more tasty. The whole thing's beautiful. Here, when we feed them a bunch of corn, well, there you go. That's the difference. There's even manufacturers right now that they're playing with different foods. I have a specialty egg maker that I was using in Phoenix. They use all red capsicum or red peppers. So they feed the chickens red peppers, high diet of those. So when you eat the yolk's actually reddish. And it's got like a little bell pepper flavor to it. It's the most amazing egg. It's the most amazing egg. It's a very expensive egg, don't get me wrong. But again, the higher price the egg, when you're out looking around, get it. Don't worry about it. Just get the expensive egg. It's tasty. Just get it. Okay, so we've got a nice looking Caesar right now. It's got just enough dressing. I don't know if you can kind of see what's going on here. It looks pretty, doesn't it? All right, and that cauliflower, I know it's a little strange, but it's going to add that texture too. And if you don't put the croutons in, it acts as a crouton just fine. And again, we're going to go ahead and do everything from the inside and then garnish that top with the rest. There is one more thing I'm going to add to this besides the chicken. Well, like I said, we'll just put a little bit of everything kind of back on top. So again, when somebody eats this, they look at it and they go, well, what's in this? That's what's in it.
Chef Devon believes in large portions. That plate is piled high.
The camera, it makes it look bigger. It's fine. Okay, and then this lovely chicken. And we'll just kind of fan that out on top of there. That looks good, right? Oh, but wait, there's more. We were talking about the different fun things you can do with finishing. This is a really, really nice California extra virgin olive oil. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a little bit of that and just kind of drizzle that over the top. Not only does it make it shiny, and we like shiny things, but it's going to give it that extra flavor, that oomph when you eat that chicken. It's going to have that nice, fresh floral olive oil kick to it. So there you go. That's a good looking Caesar. Well, moving right along here then.
I'm going to
We
jump
have
in
so
real
much.
quick because you said organic.
Very
And
good.
there's always a lot of questions on should you buy organic versus non-organic fruits and vegetables. From a nutrition standpoint, you have the same vitamins and minerals, whether it's organic or non-organic. What you're getting with organic is a lower level of pesticide. Your non-organic is still safe. The FDA regulates the level, they test, maybe not as much as we would all like, but they do test, and the produce does have to pass. So it's safe to eat, and nutritionally it's equivalent. You know, what I tell people is if you can afford and prefer, by all means, buy organic. A lot of that is from local farmers, it's traveled a shorter distance. But if your budget doesn't allow, or you want something that isn't available organic, it's just as nutritious as the organic foods. Question?
Greens in a tub. Should you wash them after you buy them? Because it says truly washed, ready to eat.
It does. So if you buy the pre-washed greens, whether in a bag or a tub, the question is, should you still wash them? And you know, there is debate still among that, because people will say, no, we have washed it, we've washed it, we've washed it. I was working in a kitchen, we opened up the bag of triple washed lettuce and there was dirt in it. So, you know, I'll be honest, I'm usually in a hurry and I don't take the time to wash it again, but I always look at it as I'm putting it into my salad bowl. So that's really kind of up to your personal preference. And then the other thing before you move on, speaking of chicken, you'll see a lot of chicken and it will say natural on the label. Natural is another marketing department. There is no, regulated definition of what natural means. Dirt is natural. So just a word of caution, don't pay attention when it says natural on the package.
So if it doesn't say natural, it's unnatural.
Apparently
Correct.
that's the assumption.
Makes no sense.
What about no added hormones?
Well, that's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think 10 minutes. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but all chicken is no added hormones, isn't it?
Theoretically, I guess. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if you knew anything fun about that.
I don't know anything fun.
Okay.
But there are a lot of manufacturers that will put things on the label because it's what they think people want to see or hear, but it really doesn't mean anything.
Okay, there we go. Any other questions about chicken? Okay, so next thing we're going to move on to, this is a fun one. It's kind of a rendition of avocado toast. So we've got, we're going to use edamame, and I got a little ahead of myself, sorry. These guys right there.
It's soybeans.
Soybeans, exactly. So it's a shelled soybean. We're going to add basil to that, and we're basically going to make almost like a hummus. Okay, so we're going to grind it all together. We're going to do a little bit of lemon juice. We've got a little salt and pepper. We've got, what else do we do? Basil. Olive oil. Okay. So we've got our herbs in there, our salt, our pepper, our lemon juice, and then we're going to kind of get this spinning in here real quick. If you have a food processor, it's the easiest way to do it. You can use like a mortar and pestle. It just takes a lot of arm work. So we'll turn that on. While this is grinding, we're going to kind of move on to the next one because it's going to take a minute, okay? So once it gets a little bit, we've ground it up to almost like a paste, we're going to add the olive oil towards the end, and that'll help fluff it up and it'll emulsify that oil into it, okay? Well, we might want to do a little bit of that to start. There we go. Okay, so while that's going, we've got bread. I went ahead and just took a regular baguette, cut it, put a little bit of oil on it, a little bit of seasoning on it, salt and pepper, and then grilled it. So gives it a lot more flavor. Grilled bread tastes a lot better than regular bread, okay? So we're gonna build little bits and pieces. We're gonna put our spread over the top, and then we're gonna put a nice little salad on top of that. So we've got arugula, tomato, these guys. So next let's entry into the green leafies. This is the baby arugula we were talking about earlier. Again, very small leaf, very delicate, very mild, doesn't have the big overwhelming flavor that you're going to get on a bigger piece of arugula, okay? A bit more. Okay. So in a bowl, okay, no bowl, in a container. We're just going to take a little of our greens. This is way too much, but that's fine. Your tomatoes. Again, a little bit more of that fresh olive oil. Season it with just a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of fresh lemon juice. So we're kind of building its own dressing right here. If you like seeds, leave them in. If not, you can pull them out. Sure. The question was about counterfeit olive oil. Really, it's just like the eggs. Buy the expensive stuff, and you're usually going to do a lot better. Go for the single origin stuff that you can validate where it came from. Just like wines, they do that DOGC situation, so they can determine that it's coming from the right spot. Just do a little bit of research on them. That's all. If you have a local person that's reputable, shop through them. All righty then. And here now we have edamame hummus. Okay. And these edamame, obviously, soybean oil, we use a lot of soybean oil for a lot of things, right? So this has already got a ridiculous amount of fat in it already. So a good alternative again for that, the avocado. Avocados are a little unattainable right now. They're extremely expensive, where this isn't. And it's super tasty. I can't wait for you to try it. We were checking it out for this, and I was super impressed with the recipe and then the flavor as well. It was just out of this world. So we'll go ahead and finish. This was an easy one. I know we just kind of went really quick, but this one's really super easy to make. So you've got your nice little spread on there, your bread. So what else does this make you think about? Is there another dish that anybody can think about that this is pretty similar to? Grilled bread, tomato, bruschetta.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is really just kind of a twist on bruschetta, right? So you could go to a fancy place and you could get something just like this maybe. And then the top, I'm just using a little bit of balsamic syrup. You can reduce it down yourself, or you can just buy it. And there we go. Again, super easy to make, very fresh, very, very seasonal, right? We're going into spring. This is a beautiful spring dish. I'm just going to leave that right there for now. We only got one left. You ready to find out the last one? The last one's very, the last one's a lot of work.
Last one is.
I've actually got some magic of TV on this one. So are you ready for magic of TV? I think Prakash knows what I'm talking about. Okay, so with the last one we're going to do, and again, we're taking advantage of the green leafy here as far as the basil's concerned. The rest of it, I know, not really green leafy, but still good for you. So we're doing a version of a Vietnamese salad roll. So we're going to use mushroom, we're going to use green onion, we're going to use carrot. I've got julienne snap peas, a little bit of celery, shrimp, and then right here, this is sweet Thai chili. We have that. You can use it if you'd like. The other thing, again, we've got these lovely bottles. I'm going to steal one real quick. Everyone gets to take one of these home with you. Okay, this is actually what you're going to be eating. So there's that. And somewhere here, I have this. Okay, so same as, you're going to get a chance to try this. I'm not going to bother giving you a lot of the sweet Thai chili because that's just a lot of sugar and some heat. The soy ginger is going to be much nicer. So I'm going to give you that to take home, and then we're going to give you a little of that on the side too, so you could dip your spring roll in it. The only thing I want to cover on this, again, very quick. There's not much to talk about here. The only thing to really talk about with this is how to do it. I mean, has anybody seen these in a store? Right? You're like, what is that? Is that a pancake? Not a pancake. So For this, here's the trick with these. That the water doesn't have to be hot. It doesn't have to be cold. It does. I mean, just plain water out of a tap is fine. The idea, what we're looking for here, is you just want to get it wet. And see, it's already reacting to the humidity in the board and in the air. That's why it's curling up right now. So all you want to do is just put a little bit of water. In fact, you could, if you wanted to just be silly about things, just do that. That would be fine too. Okay, a little bit of,
Is that what that is?
it's actually just rice.
Oh, rice.
Yeah, it's just they're rice sheets. It's called, yep, rice paper. So you put that down, and now you're going to want to just let that water kind of sit in there for a minute. While you're doing it, you can go ahead and build all your other components. That what you're doing is you're letting that rehydrate. It's going to get sticky. Then you're going to just basically make a burrito. That's all that's going to happen. So when you go to like have the nice little Vietnamese or like pho or things like that, and you get the rice, the salad rolls, this is how you make them. So also with these, you're going to see through them. So anything you're going to put on the bottom, make sure it's presentation side. So here's a piece of shrimp that's kind of the not so pretty side. And then there's a piece that's very pretty side. Okay, so pretty side down. Again, we've got this beautiful basil. We'll just put a little whole leaf of that in there.
Chef, is there a trick for knowing how much to put in there so you can actually get it rolled and stay closed?
There is a really good trick for this. If you try to roll this and it doesn't work, you've put too much in it. But actually, that is kind of silly, but I like to put as much as I possibly can because it is sticky. So when you wrap it, if you do it just to almost the breaking point, it kind of bulges out a little bit and it looks cooler. Okay, that's pretty much it. So I got a little bit of the green onion in there. The snap peas are absolutely delicious. We'll put some of those in there. We've got this beautiful celery. We got some mushroom. And again, this might be a good time if you like. You just take a little bit of this, your sweet Thai chili. You can drizzle a little bit inside of there for some flavor or not. Totally up to you. And now we're at sticky. So we lift. This is easier. This is easier without a glove, by the way. It might be an altitude thing too, right? And then you just roll it up and just let it sit. So right there, that's the roll. Okay. Once you let it sit, the rice ends, the starch will come out and it'll seal itself up and you'll be good to go, just like that. So there it is. And so, like I said too, notice you got that nice leaf on the outside. You can see the mushroom. There's the shrimp. So it garnishes itself. It's an absolutely beautiful dish. And there's almost no calories to it because the rice, you're only talking about a little tiny bit. You got a lot of vegetables. The shrimp's nice. You got the seasoning from that. And then once you get into this soy dipping sauce, oh my gosh, this is going to be really nice.
Is this steamed then, or is it? It's ready to eat now.
This is ready to go. Just like this. Yeah. How easy was that? Like lunch, done. Well, and you know, those are kind of a pain. You got to put egg wash, right? And then you got to deep fry them, all those other things. Not to mention, yeah, then they're not even good for you. These are just tasty. And I found these little guys. See, these are like 2 bites. A lot of the other ones come in a much larger size. You got to cut them. They're harder to eat. These are perfect. You'll find out. One
And you
second.
just let it sit so it'll
That's
stick
it.
together, because I tried the bigger ones once and it just.
It's the only thing is not too much water. So if you have too much water there, the idea is they have to rehydrate and they almost has to start to dry out again. And once they start to dry out again, that's when they get sticky. The other way we'll do them like for large parties and things like that, we'll put on a big table, you just spray down the table and then put the sheets down and then just spray them down again. And that's enough water to make it work. So that's it. That's all I've got for you today. Did you have any other lovely words to impart on everyone?
No, I want to say I had my notes here the whole time, just in case my mind went blank in front of everyone. But I think we covered it.
Did everybody have fun? Yeah? Did we learn anything? I'll have to apologize. I have never done this before, and it's tough for me to be in front of a crowd.
I think you got
So-
us confused.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You did great. All right. Well, thank you again for everything, and we're just so happy to have you. Awesome. Are we doing questions right now? We're good?
Now, we had a question as to whether this food is routinely available, and I would say on all of our Wesley campuses.
I'm going to turn my mic back on.
Somebody had a question, what about the teachers?
Oh, they're ready. That's it. This is it. Yeah, it's done. We were talking about that earlier. You just asked about peaches too. It's ready. Like I said, you could put a little butter in the end and that would be it, or serve it over ice cream. We'll get to that in a minute. But no, so a good question. Is this stuff available? Absolutely, it's available. These are all kinds of fun things. Like I said, with the smoothies, I want that to become part of the bistro. So we're already working on getting that to be part of the program. Edamame toast and things like that. We absolutely are going to work. These are a lot of bistro dishes that we're going to be playing with and putting into actual use. Everything you're seeing are things that you could see, especially at the field or the flagship. That would be where I'm from. I have a multicultural, multifaceted menu. There's all kinds of crazy stuff on there. In fact, I get a lot of things like, where did you get this? I can't read this. And that's good. That means that I'm giving people the opportunity to eat more things, expose them to more things. And don't get me wrong, there's some fried chicken available too, but I mean, there's some really, really great food to be had for sure.
Chef, will you talk about our food service at Wesley and how all of the campuses are under the same food service?
Absolutely.
Company, and how you guys develop your menus?
Okay. Well, that's a great question.
Thank you.
The idea is, first of all, we teamed up, we being Morrison. So we're Morrison Living. We do the contract food service for everyone. So we teamed up with Wesley, I think about 15 years ago, I think it was. And what we do, we specialize in culinary. Where Wesley specializes in care, we specialize in food. So we've had a great partnership for the last 15 years, giving great food to great people. And it's even gotten better. I joined the team this last year. I'm kind of taken over as the lead for all the locations culinarily. My goal for this is to bring almost the same experience to everyone. Stop kind of like the gap between where everybody kind of has the same offerings. So I'm working on kind of an overall menu that will work in all levels of care and all levels for all the people, all the residents as well. So that way we don't come to things like this and they go, we ate this here, but we didn't get this here, or so on and so on. It'll be a much better situation because then everybody will get to experience that. We've got a lot of things planned for that as well. We've already kind of implemented that into the bistros, and we're moving towards that within the regular culinary as well.
The rice, the little rice papers, did you just get those in the international?
Yep. You can actually find them at Fred Meyer now. They've got them at Fred Meyer.
I'm sorry?
They've even got them at Fred Meyer now.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
She asked,
Because they're doing more and more of that.
oh yeah, it's got its own aisle now, and you could, that's the fun aisle. So she asked a question, can you get these? Where can you go find these? You can actually just go down to Freddy's and find it. They have them there now.
Since we don't have a dietitian here, do we have access?
There's always something in the program. If you have a need for dietitian, we can absolutely get something put in place for you. Yeah, we have that service available to everyone that lives in any Wesley community, for sure. For sure. That's another great question. Awesome. And is that nice? It's nice. It's very tasty. Edamame beans. There's actually a fun name. I don't remember the name they have for them, but you can find them in regular grocery stores. You can go to an Asian market. At the fun Asian markets like Ranch 99 and Wajimaya and H Mart, they'll have things like that. You can get the whole bean and then shell it yourself. Or there are ways, I think I've even seen it at Freddy's, where you can buy a bag of the beans all by themselves. They do come frozen. Yeah, frozen.
I've seen the frozen ones.
Yep. So everybody's had their, okay, we've got new things. That's good. What, so far, what's the favorite? We don't know yet? Everything? Okay, good.
All
All right.
right.
I think that's it.
Chef Devon, thank you so much. That is wonderful. Sheila, thank you. What wonderful information. Great job. This is better than Food Network, right? Fun, right? So we appreciate you all coming today, and for all of you that attended online. Again, you'll be able to get a copy of the recipes. We'll send that out following this event. And of course, we have copies of the recipes here for those of you that have attended in person. But you can also go to our Wesley webinar website to get information on all of the events that we've done and upcoming events like our 1-year anniversary celebration that we're going to be hosting here at Tahali in June, and also our dementia support series that's coming up as well. That's a 3-part series that we're going to be starting next month, this month too. Or 4-part series. Okay, thank you. All right. Thanks again for everyone that attended online. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate all of you in person. I hope you enjoyed your food, and we've got some goodies to give for you as you leave today. Thanks very much. Yeah.